shows the path that the Anunnaki took from Nibiru, bless you, to Earth. And so here, as I've circled, is the section that Zecharia Sitchin decided to translate specifically. And it shows some very interesting information. What it shows here is that this is some Sumerian writing explaining that the god Enlil went by 7 planets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, from Nibiru to our vicinity of the solar system where Earth is. And here are actually names of the planets like Mars and Jupiter. Now they didn't call them that. They had Sumerian names for them, but which I'll show you in a minute. Very interesting. The Sumerians not only described the distance between our outer planets, but what they look like in space. How did they know that? We didn't know until we sent the Pioneer and Voyager probes, yet it confirmed the Sumerian information from thousands of years ago with what they had said about it. And again, here along the sides, something like rocket, rocket, mountain, mountain, pile up, high, high, high. So this is some pretty interesting information when we start to look at all of these artifacts in detail and wonder, wow, how did they know all this? So again, as I was saying, that when we sent these outer space probes in the 70s, like the Voyager and Voyager 1 and 2 and Pioneer, when it got to the outer part of the solar system and started looking at the planets and taking pictures, they precisely matched the Sumerian information from thousands of years ago. So that's some pretty esoteric information that we can now confirm with our own advances in modern science. So here are some Sumerian descriptions, just some imprints. And this is a cylinder seal recreation, which shows, or a reprint, I should say, which shows during daylight time. These are Sumerian workers, working with a plow and some animals. And interestingly enough, the symbology of Nibiru, right, this planet where the Anunnaki come from, this is a scene saying that they could even see this planet during the day. That there was a time when this planet would actually come near to us and would be a big red glowing cross in the sky. Interestingly enough, that they depicted this planet Nibiru originally as a big glowing cross, because Christianity with Jesus on the cross, well, this is 4,000 years before Christianity, and they're symbolizing their gods as a cross, or that they come from a cross. Oh, let me back up too, and I should say that these other symbols, in pursuing cultures that led even into the Egyptian culture, this sign for Nibiru was translated more into the winged disc, which we'll see more of here in a minute. So here's another Sumerian cylinder seal, and interestingly enough, as a backdrop, we have the 7 dots here that represented Earth. I'm sorry that this isn't clear for you. This is the 7 dots that represented Earth. This is the winged disc of Nibiru. And the Sumerians had many, many tablets and many, many cylinder seals which describe daily events of when they lived among their living gods and the things that took place. Here's another cylinder seal, an imprint, when you pressed it into the clay, that left the symbol for Nibiru, its crescent moon, the 7 dots of Earth, and our crescent moon. I don't exactly know what the meaning of this is, other than those are the 2 symbols that it's showing us, and it's, pretty interesting. So here's another Sumerian depiction of showing that a seated Anunnaki on the throne here, and symbolically the planet X, if you will, which we'll discuss in a moment. That's another modern term for this planet Nibiru, known by the ancients, depicted as a cross. Even at daylight time, they were able to see this planet. So one of the other stories that the Sumerians give us is basically an ancient cosmology for how our Earth came to be. Now, we understand that basically our solar system is roughly 4.7 billion years old, and the current model, which still doesn't answer all the questions scientifically, but the current model is that all of our planets kind of basically were whimsing in this gas and then slowly coalesced here to make different planets. Well, the Sumerians have another version of our solar system explaining how our Earth came to be. They clearly describe, and actually here is the tablet that explains all this. Like I said, there were 7 tablets that explained the creation of Earth and of man and of the solar system, all these great events, the 7 tablets of creation. This is just one of them, known as the Epic of Creation, and it's stored in the British Museum, and very clearly describes the Sumerian version of how there was this intruder planet, basically, as the Sumerians described it, Nibiru. I've labeled it Planet X here, which we'll discuss in a moment, modern-wise. But this planet, as they called it, an intruder, was pulled into the inner part of our solar system by the gravitational effect of the outer planets, got pulled into the inner part of our solar system. Here's our primitive Earth, which was then known as Tiamat. The Sumerians called our primitive Earth Tiamat. So this intruding planet, Nibiru, when it came very close to Earth, one of its moons north wind, as it's labeled here, whacked our primitive Earth and in the process strewed out the asteroid belt. So many of the theories are still abound as to how the solar system was formed and how the asteroid belt got there. Theories like it was once a planet that exploded. Okay, so where is it now? So here's a Sumerian description of, this is, I'm sorry, a 3D image, but this is the Sumerian description of what took place. And they say that after this collision took place, this Nibiru went on to have a very long orbit of 3,600 years, but forever becoming a member of our solar system. Now, very interestingly enough, if some of you are aware and have been following the, as I like to call it, misinformation and speculation on the internet, there's been a lot of information that says that this planet X has been found or is being imaged or is sighted and is coming to cause global catastrophes. Well, just showing a simple equation here that if the orbit is 3,600 years, which by best guesstimates we can confirm by the Sumerian information, a 3,600-year orbit, and roughly 4.7 billion years ago is when our solar system came to be. If we just do a simple division, you can see that 3,600, the orbit of Nibiru, divided by 4.7, the creation of our solar system, we're talking over 1 million times that 3,600-year orbit has been completed. So I theorize that it's possible that not every time this Nibiru passes by us that it causes global catastrophes. I personally do not see any information as of yet to say that Nibiru or a planet X is headed this way, but there is current research to support the idea, both modern and as I'm showing you ancient, that it does exist. So if this planet X or a Nibiru did whack our primitive Earth, making it into half a planet, we do have a theory known as Pangea that states that very early on, all of the continents were connected in one large landmass, and that over time, millions of years, the theory of continental drift, like the skin of an apple, it's kind of come apart and has been slowly drifting into the parts that they are now. But if you were to put all these pieces together, it does show it to be half a planet. And the Sumerian descriptions for how this all took place fits right into the line of thinking that we're still using today of modern science, of this idea of a Pangea and that all the continents do fit. And if it was just one big land mass, a big chunk, well, then that whole open basin, you know, it's half a planet. Because if you siphon off the water, it's just one chunk of land. So maybe because of hyperdimensional physics or however it works with gravity, all planets siphon into a spherical shape. But without the water, it would just be half a